everyone, and welcome back to the Coach Kellie Speak Show. Last week we were all for Labor Day weekend, and so we had a rerun of our previous show with my husband. And so every week before I get started, I always talk about my week. So this week was a week of celebration for my best friend, Tanya Freeman, who is now Tanya Fletcher. And if you guys remember, she is the author of Winning Through the Storm, which is a step-by-step guidebook to overcoming in health challenges. And so for those of you who know, we just had a hurricane this weekend. Over the weekend in Florida and all throughout the Caribbean, Hurricane Irma, I believe. And so I wanted to start by saying, my prayers are with you. 2 weeks before that, my brother who lives in Houston, Texas, William, he had his car go underwater. And so these various hurricanes, Harvey, a lot of times you don't know how to prepare. Sometimes you think you're ready, and sometimes you are not ready. And so not only was it a time of celebration for me, it was a time of celebration. And I was also kind of nervous because of all of the things that were going on around me. It was a lot of people who had suffered loss from Harvey. Of course, my brother, I was talking to him. So my emotions was really all over the place. And so I really had to, I had death in my family. And so it was just, I was in every single emotion. I was happy one moment. I was sad the next moment. I was nervous. I was all sorts of emotions. And so I wanted to just say that when you're going through those seasons where it can almost seem like it's so many things going on, you can become emotionally seasick, if you will. And so one of the things that I had to do was I had to go into a mental sabbatical. And I remember just being in my room, and I cut everything off, the TV. I stopped watching CNN. I had to cut everything off, the Shade Room, you name it. I got off of Facebook because it was really, really overwhelming. Just so much information coming at me. It was just so much information. So I say that to say, oftentimes we have to take those sabbaticals and unplug, because sometimes when there's so much information coming at you, you can become so overwhelmed that it will go into your work life. So at work, I went to work one day, and even one of my customers, she said to me, "Are you okay?" And I says, well, really, I'm not, because there's so many things going on. And so one of the chapters of my book, Yes, You Are a Champion, I go into a series of unplugging, which means I unplug from the radio. I unplug during the time of a power outage. And this weekend, there were many power outage all over the United States. And when you hit a power outage, generally what you do is you have to go downstairs to your breaker box, and you have to find which plug or what is it called? Whatever switch, you have to push that switch to turn that power back on. And the reason why is because it's so much current coming from one part of your house. So you cannot plug so many things into one plug and expect for your power to keep running, right? And so I said that to say that's my best example of how I felt. It was so many things plugged into the inside of me. I mean, it wasn't just stuff plugged in. It was extension cords, people that I knew, their circumstances begin to come into my sphere of influence. At work, it was clients who had family members who was affected by Harvey as well. And so this week was really, really somber, but I had to go into prayer. And many of you know that I'm a Christian. I believe that Holy Spirit is your best recharger, that you go in and you plug into a new source, a new filling station. in a new place of energy in order to regain yourself and your stability, your mental stability, your physical stability. And so being a giver and being a server, whenever I'm serving, I give it my all. So going back to being in my best friend's wedding, I whatever she needed in that moment, I wanted to make sure that I was able. I wasn't focusing on what was going on in my house. Everything was about her in that moment, making sure that she entered into covenant happy, making sure that any stresses was eliminated. One of the things that I did was that morning, I took her phone because I said that at this moment, I want to make sure that I protected her. And so last week, I went into talking about how friendship is an anointing. Friendship is a ministry. And so when you have friendship, especially those covenant, dear friendships that God uses, right? Like the Oprah and the Gail, there would be no Oprah if it was not for Gail, right? And so Gail is like the midwife to Oprah. And so in that season, even this week, I put myself under her, and I served her until she went back to her honeymoon suite. And so I talked about the exchange even in Mary and Elizabeth relationship, and how a lot of times we don't think that we need people anymore. So it's easy to disconnect. But I put it back on and threw the ball back into your court and says that if you call someone sis, make sure that you understand that you are going to be inconvenienced. Was I inconvenienced this weekend? I absolutely was. I had on a really, really tight dress. And underneath that tight dress, I had something tight underneath that and something tight underneath that. And I had to hold my stomach in for almost 2 hours on Saturday, but it was worth it because I understand and I realized that when you're in labor with someone and you are a midwife and you're called to help someone to push destiny, you're going to get some of that sweat on you. You're going to get some of that blood, sweat, and tears on you, but it's okay because the promise is so much more important than the process. It always is, and it always will be. And we're going to get into more of that later on in the show. We have Pastor Ishmael and Pastor Rochelle Wilson, who I really look up to them as a couple. I believe that iron always sharpens iron. It's not always easy being sharpened, and there have been times that I've sat under Pastor Rochelle in her ministry, and I sat down and she talked about things such as being a wife, and I remember her saying that she didn't drink Starbucks for a whole year. Just things that she did things that she did that was needed to go to the next level. And there is a level of sacrifice. In order to raise people, you have to be willing to go to the next level. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the Wilsons.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Coach Kellie from the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. I'm here to talk about my brand new book, the 30-Day, 30-Minute Visionary Journal, Awakening the Finisher Within. I wrote this book because I wanted to inspire other people to be finishers in their own personal journey of business and everyday life. So writing this book has really helped me to organize my thoughts a lot better, and has also just made me look at things different and not put so much pressure on myself, because before I would try to compile so much information in at one time, but now it has slowed my pace down a lot, and I'm able to really plan things out in a 30-minute manner. And so I think that now, with different projects that I'm working on, I feel that I'm a little more confident in what it is that I'm doing because I've actually planned it out better. So I hope that people who get this book will have a deeper appreciation for, number one, who they are, what they've been called to, and the people group that they've been called to as well. I also want people to have a clear and step-by-step guide to how to fight against fear and procrastination. I hope that this book will help you to win in each and every level of your life, each and every area of your life. I want this book to change the way you see yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror, that you won't see yourself through the eyes of fear, but that you'll see yourself through the eyes of faith, knowing that you are a finisher and that you will finish each and every project that you put your hands on. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you, gracias, because without you, I would not be able to do what I do, what I love every day, from styling my clients to the boutique, and now my new show, the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. This has been an exciting journey for me. I'm inspired by each and every last one of your comments, how you share my posts, you know, going on to YouTube, leaving comments, just all of that just warms my heart every time I read it. And so I wanted to just let you know that you can buy my book on my website at www.coachkelliespeaks.net. Thank you again for tuning in, and I love you guys so much. Thanks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with the Wilsons.
Hello.
Pastor Ishmael and Rochelle Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I am so excited
Absolutely
because
excited.
I follow you guys. I see you out and about, you know, and one of the most genuine couples I've ever met.
Oh, bless you.
Love God, love God's people. Pastors of Another Level Ministries. It's fresh cleaners.
Fresh dry cleaners. That's right.
Fresh dry
Real.
cleaners.
Yeah.
The boutique, authors.
Yes.
Oh, God, just everything. You have books. How do you do everything?
Oh, my
Goodness.
God.
So I'll start because my husband is the one that balances all of this out, and it's with God being first. Because a lot of times we want so much, Kellie, and you know that as an entrepreneur, and you're so aggressive and powerful in your own right. And so I just thank God for this opportunity. But sometimes we get caught up in the things, right? Success. And so we balance it by putting God first and family first, and always have that in our perspective. And so when we're straying too much to the left or the right, doing any one thing too much, and not having our family and our children being first, and for me as a woman, still having a career, being an entrepreneur, if my husband isn't first, then I know I'm off. And so the balance comes because God is first, and then for me as a wife, my husband is first priority.
Yeah, I was going to definitely say balance is the key to it all. You know, just making sure that we put things in its proper priority. You know, God first, then our family, then everything else falls into place.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And so, how long have you guys been in business? Are you in business together? You have separate entities, but how long have you been?
How would you want to say that?
So we've been in business together for about 7 years. We've been married 10 years, 11 years in October. So a long time we've partnered. We started with our individual businesses, and then some we merged and created partnerships. And then we still have our individual businesses. And so that's the beauty behind being an entrepreneur-inspired couple. We get the opportunity to do our own thing as we work together.
Yeah. So I would definitely say that we, are in business together because, what happens in the business sometimes comes into our house. So I need her to kind of, give me some wisdom in some areas, So I definitely say we're in business together.
Yeah. For sure.
Awesome. Okay.
But he is the CEO in everything because I gleaned from his expertise. Submission is always critical, not just on the marital side, but also on the business side. I submit to his wisdom, I submit to his understanding, and I submit to his expertise.
Yeah. Was it always that easy?
I'll let him answer it. I never struggled with submission, Kellie, because I honor God and I'm submitted to his will for my life and the things that he has designed for me. So I never struggled with submission. I think I did struggle with the power that comes behind success and managing because I came to the marriage being established with my own career. I've been in education for 21 years. And so I came into this kind of understanding what it felt like to have power and to have influence. And so I had to learn to manage that. There was some days where, I just could not be the manager in my home. My husband had to be the manager. And so I had to learn that through submission.
Yeah, I would definitely say that she submitted. My wife is powerful in her own right, and I like to celebrate that. I'm not intimidated by her success at all. I try to push her in those areas, and we got so many other projects that we're working on that doesn't even focus on me. It focuses on her and what God has called her to do. And I think it's so important that when you understand your mate's assignment in the earth, that you get behind that and push that any kind of way you can.
And he does that.
I love that. Yeah. Push your mate's assignment.
Yeah, that's so good.
I never heard of that. That would tweet all day long. I mean, that is so awesome. Yeah. And so in any business, I believe that wherever there's a market, wherever there's a problem, there's always a market.
Absolutely.
There's always a way to make money. And so what problems do your businesses solve?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Well, I think the primary thrust of all of our entities is really about leveraging education, whether it be the financial aspect of our Success Geeks Academy, where we're providing financial empowerment. But for us, we really want to empower individuals to understand how you manage businesses. And we also want to empower individuals to understand that you can have a very lucrative career, but you need some coaching, you need some mentoring, you need some strategies. For us, it really is about solving problems relative to understanding and education. We really miss a lot of opportunities because we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the information. And so for us, we want to give people information. In these books, we give the tools, we give the strategies that we use, right? It's not a secret. Success is not a secret. People always talk about sharing success tips and secrets. For us, we wanted to be an open book. How did we get to the place? How did I get to the place where I made six figures with one stream? I want to share that. It's not a secret. So for us, the problem that we solve, we become solutions driven in terms of our approach to helping people. We give answers.
Yeah, yeah. Transparency is the key to success, I believe.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we did, one of the things that I was determined, whether it was ministry or whether it was business, I want to be connected to things that change people's lives.
Yes.
If it's not connected to making a life-changing impact on somebody, I don't want to do it. Yeah. Via Success Geeks or another level church or even the dry cleaners. I use marketplace ministry in order to reach those who necessarily may not come through the four walls of the church. Absolutely. So I think that that's important, and it's not always about, toting the Bible around and, you're preaching, being real preachy.
Yes.
But it's about having that word hidden in your heart so that you'll be able to share it on the drop of a dime.
Yep.
So amen.
And so Earl Nightingale says that success is doing a lot of things right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, because my next question was, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is making sure that whatever I do is in the perfect is in the perfect will of God for my life. That's success for me. Success for me is making sure not that I, become this, this major player in this earth, but that I fulfill the purpose and the plan of God for my life. That's success for me. I'm not really concerned about, I like to drive nice cars and live in nice homes and all that other stuff. I think that that's the benefit of doing His will. But
so good.
I think that more importantly, success is when I can make sure that I can put shoes on my baby's feet. When I can make sure that my kids, have clean clothes and a roof over their head, and my wife is taken care of. That's success for me.
Wow.
And for me, I just sum success up with some words and some phrases. The first one is divine alignment. Alignment with God's will. And in His will, as Pastor said, the benefits are going to come. When I just operate in His will, when I do as He sees fit for me, I'm going to have my needs met. I'm going to be successful. And I also say that success is defined by your measurable outcomes. Are you able to measure outcomes that you identified?
That's good.
It's not the things, it's not the events, it's those outcomes that are tangible that you can manage. And then lastly, impact in someone else's life.
Yeah.
My ability to exchange what God has given me to impact someone else's life. Without that, for me, I've not been successful.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
And so it's bigger than you.
It's bigger than me.
It's bigger
You
than
know,
me.
it's
bigger
bigger
than
than you.
us.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
and a lot, it's funny because I've asked that question quite a bit, and no one really talked about their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And defining success and just making sure my kids are clothed and clean clothes
Yeah.
and healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's a part of juggling, and a lot of people, they can't handle it.
They can't. They
You know,
can't.
their
They
kids
can't.
are running all over the place,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so that really blessed me. That was impactful to me, and I'm sure for other people. And so, how important is it to set goals?
Oh, it's so important.
I believe that it's important to set goals, but it's also important to set attainable goals.
Oh, yes.
I think a lot of times people, we set, okay, start of the year, every January, okay, we want to lose 50 pounds this year, okay? But by the end of that 21-day fast every church does in America, we stuffing those cheeseburgers right back in our mouth. But I think that sometimes I know they say reach for the stars, but I say reach for the clouds.
Okay.
Reach for those things that you actually know that you can get to. So instead of wanting to lose 50 pounds, say, let me lose 10 pounds. And then once you lose 10 pounds, then set some new goals.
Awesome.
I think because we kill ourselves and we kill our dreams and we kill our destiny because we're trying to reach for stuff and trying to get it before it's time. So timing is everything.
So let me stop you right there.
Yeah, come on.
Because you said before it's time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I always say it's like God shows it to you and then he pushes rewind.
Yes. That's so good.
And so how do you keep your pace when you know that you have a global ministry? But how do you break it up? Like, how do you slice it up in portions? Like, how do you do that?
Okay, I'll tell you.
That's a great question.
All right, I'm going to let you answer that. But let me just say this one piece right here. I asked God a question about 3 or 4 years ago. I said, is it possible for me to do your will and not be in your will?
So good.
Is it possible for me to do what you've called me to do and not be in the perfect will of God for my life? And he answered me. He said, yes. He said, because you can do my will and do it before time.
Wow, come on.
So good.
See, timing is everything. And when we understand that if we would just take a moment and hear God, the Bible says that the steps of a good person, or the steps of a good man, are ordered by the Lord. So if God will order our steps, then the Holy Spirit, he will be a teacher to us. And he'll give us step-by-step instruction on how to get to our expected end. So that's kind of what I do. I sit down at the top of the year, actually already before the church, already know what the new theme of our church is going to be for next year. You know, because I've already been in prayer concerning that, and we got 4 more months.
Yeah,
But at the top, right before the start of a new year, I always take some time away from my family, and I just go away to hear from God, so that I know exactly what are the goals for business, what are the goals for my ministry, what are the goals for my family. And I jot all those things out on a 12-month calendar, and I break my goals down into 3-month increments. So every 3 months, I do a goal check-in.
Yep.
Wow.
So have I
Every 3
accomplished
months.
that?
Okay.
Have I accomplished that? Okay, so if I didn't accomplish that, I'm not going to be trying to get to that 4th month and say, okay, well, I got to put everything on fast forward because I got to get this done. I got to get it done. No, I just push it to the next quarter.
Yep.
I love it.
You
And
know?
we do that as a couple. So we do that collectively, we do that individually, and that's what we teach the folks that join Success Geeks.
Yeah.
We show you how to map out your life, because a lot of times we run ourselves in the ground because we're so overwhelmed with what God has shown us.
Oh, yeah.
And just because he showed us yesterday doesn't mean it's supposed to happen tomorrow. And so one of the things we do, we sit down and we help you map out your life. We map out our lives and we chunk it out per quarter. I have goals for every area of my life. I have goals for being a wife, how much time I want to give him. Those are goals, because my life with him is important. It's just as important as me getting a degree. And so I plot those things out, and I also use the times that I did not meet the goals as lessons learned. So when we're coaching and when we're working with people, we say, don't get discouraged at the end of the year. Use it as a strong data point to take into a new year. Why didn't you kick off the business? Was it because you didn't have the capacity? Didn't have the resources? What do you need to do to get the resources? That's what you take into a new year. So we're looking at our goals. We're checking in. We have vision boards in our bedroom. We see goals before us.
Yeah.
Because goals hold you accountable, Kelly. And most people don't want goals because the reality of accountability can be strong and tough.
Yes.
Right? When you didn't meet something. It took me 5 years to write this book. And I'm looking at pads and documents now where it was in 2006 and I was saying, write 6 steps for 6 figures. And now I finally have it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right. All right.
Talking about goals, and we are here with the Success Geeks. Let me tell y'all something. The whole time I'm asking y'all, I'm sitting here like, whoo, that was good. Whoo, where's my note taker? You know, because it's like you guys are full of information.
Thank you, Kelly.
Powerful information, life-changing information. So earlier you said that it took you 5 years to write your book.
It did. It was a tough road. I had to face a reality. Oftentimes it took it back to me. Some things that I didn't do, things that I didn't have in place. Mastering the art of setting goals and holding yourself accountable, I would say, was one of the things that kind of got me to the finish line. But what really allowed me to cross over with this project was connecting with a coach that held me accountable. Because when you are successful and you're so busy managing people and leading people, we're often left out of that coaching realm. And even coaches need coaches. And I will say that again. Coaches need coaches. Mentors need mentors. And once I locked in with a mentor on the business side, I saw my business grow. And once I locked into a book coach, Tressa Osarel, it really took this project to the next level. And so I thank God for that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. You can only go where you're willing to sow.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That's good.
You can only go where you're willing to sow. So wherever you're willing to invest, that's where you'll get your maximum impact from.
That's so good.
So we were able to accomplish all that we've accomplished because we know the art and the principle around investing, personally and spiritually.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Investing. And that's a word that you almost got to, push down, push, invest. It's just not one of those words that when you hear, it's like, yay. It's almost like you have to kind of really get people to understand investing. That's in finances and in themselves.
Yeah. Because the sad part about it is most individuals want stuff for free.
Yeah.
They don't, they want to hook up some kind of way. They walk in a black-owned business, I want a discount. I get that all day at the dry cleaners.
Wow.
But when we go to my Korean friends, we never walk in their dry cleaners and say, "Can I get a discount? Can I get a discount?" But and this is what we have to learn how to change the culture around that. Because you can only get a return or withdrawal where you deposit.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at it naturally. Just look at that naturally. If we go to the bank, you can't go to your bank account and say, "Give me $1 million out," if you ain't got $1 million in there.
So good. Put it in there.
So it has to be in there. It has to be invested in the account in order for you to withdraw from it. So this is a lot of times why coaches, hit this brick wall with certain people because what happens is you can only get what you have deposited. So it's like you're trying to pull from me an area that you have not deposited in me.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Wow. So am I clear about that?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that piece is so powerful, Pastor, because we find, and I've learned that I've had to challenge myself because being pastors, we just have a pastor's heart and we want to give and we want to sow and we want to even make our services available to our partners. But we've seen a different level of investment when people make an investment. You lock in. Because if you pay me $50 to talk to you, you're going to make sure I talk to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But if you're not paying me, maybe I'll talk to Pastor Rochelle another day. And so I need that level of investment so I can pour into you. If I'm preparing for a 1-hour session, it's almost like I'm preparing for a 3-hour class.
Wow.
So even what we charge for an hour, we really don't make much of it because part of it is ministry for us too. Really want to be able to pay it forward. But I find that there's more accountability when people make an investment. I'm working with a group of women right now. They're part of my 60 for Six Figures club. And these are women that have desired to make 6 figures or sustain their 6-figure income. And it's a monthly investment of $60, but they're locked in. And those that have locked in since January, we see the fruit. Those that fell off, they're still trying to figure it out. Not because I'm so smart, but because they locked in, they made an investment. And then they can withdraw because I can make deposits back to where they deposited in.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm amazed that it's only $60.
That's it.
I mean, I'm amazed by that.
$60 investment, a live call with live Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
You don't even want to know how much I paid for recorded calls a month and still benefited. So my group is live.
Wow.
They have access to me. We have a private Facebook club. I'm trying to pour into them. They have access to me. And so for those that have connected, we see the growth.
Yeah.
And so where do they sign up?
They can go to successgeeks.com and sign up for 60 for 6 figures.
Yep.
And so what about your social media?
Oh, I'll let Pastor give us all of our social media handles.
Mine is at Pastor Ishmael on everything. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have at SuccessGeeks.com. No, on social media.
Oh, yes.
Well,
yes,
IG.
yes, yes, yes.
IG
IG.
and Twitter as well. And then you can reach us at Success Geeks on Facebook. And then
Rochelle Wilson, Elocore Boutique, that's our other entity. But everything can be found at successgeeks.com. So if you want to know about the boutique, all of our entities, the dry cleaners, if you don't remember anything, just go to successgeeks.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, how important is social media to your assignments?
Oh yeah. Social media is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because social media is how everything is being advanced.
Yeah.
You know, in this 21st century day that we're living.
Yep.
You know, where, you know, at first, you know, people were going on vacation and getting postcards out of the gift store, wherever they were.
I still like postcards, so you know.
Yeah. Putting a stamp on it and mail it. Now, you know you in Mexico by just going to somebody's Facebook page and they got 17 pictures up there.
Yeah.
You know, so but it's so important to our assignment because it gives us the opportunity to go beyond our circle.
Yes, that's
and
so
reach a
yes.
different group of people
Yes.
that necessarily may not walk through the four doors of my business, my church,
Yes.
or even our lives.
Yeah, that's so
But we
good.
can impact their lives from a distance
Yeah.
via social media.
And it's been so powerful. And for me, I've honestly, Kelly, I've seen God organically grow our entities through social media. I do believe that it's an option and it's not the option because so many of us, we rely on it. It's free and it comes with its perks, but I do feel that there's still benefits in just grassroots marketing efforts where you're reaching people, where you're touching people. You understand that because you have a storefront. Some people just want to come into a physical location.
Yes.
And so it's not always about you just being a number or an @ symbol, but it is, can I come in? Can I touch your stuff? And so that element of engagement that you don't always get in person with social media is still relevant as an entrepreneur. So there's a hefty balance between it. And also when we're in business, you got to balance that because you don't want social media to become your boyfriend or to become your girlfriend or to become your wife or your husband because you are doing business.
Yeah.
So there's a management of the social media that has to be very, very intentional when you are married and you're in business.
Yeah.
I used to get in trouble with that a lot. Get off of the phone. I'm trying to do business. Well, I'm
Yeah.
still a wife and I'm still a mother.
Yeah.
And so, in your book, what do you have a favorite chapter
Ah.
of your book that just really just sums it all up for you? And I'm going to ask you the same thing, Pastor Ishmael.
Okay.
Well, I know we talked about goals a little bit, and that's not my favorite chapter, but I do want to just share that these 4 actions really helped me, and I think will help the audience as it relates to when you're trying to establish goals, because understanding your capacity is important. Knowing what you can do, what you can't do, right? I can't do hair, Kelly, so there's no way I'm going to sit here and say that I'm going to be a hairstylist in 6 months. That's not going to happen. So I got to have some real goals. But here's some goals. Here's some things that you got to have in place in order to really measure your goals. You want to identify your wins. So when you're setting goals, you want to identify your wins. You want to also monitor progress. So as we talked about these, 3 quarters, 3 months at a time goals, you want to monitor your progress. And you want to pause at milestones and reflect.
Yeah.
So if you said you were going to get the degree in 4 years, if you got the degree, pause. That's a milestone. Reflect.
Wow, come on.
Because we don't celebrate success enough. I didn't do that a lot early on in my career. And so I just matriculated. And I'm like, oh my
you
God,
just
I've done all
next
of that.
thing,
Yeah,
next
just
thing,
going.
next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
next-
yeah.
Oh God, that
And when
is
you
so
celebrate,
powerful.
you reward yourself so that when things get tough, you have something to fall back on. And this last one is what I had to deal with a lot, Kelly. It took me 5 years. You've got to deal with stagnation expeditiously. Deal with stagnation expeditiously. And that means when you're not moving, when things aren't growing, deal with it right away. Don't act like you don't see it. Acknowledge it. Identify the root cause. Change for growth.
Face was facing you.
Face was facing you.
Face was facing you.
That's so
That
good.
is great.
Yeah.
That's my
I
favorite
love
quote
that.
ever.
I love that.
Whenever I'm coaching,
Yeah.
or when I'm just getting down with my mentees, and
Yeah.
I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
face was facing you.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror,
Yeah.
because there are seasons when you go through things and you ignore the mirror.
Yes.
Because you can't look
That's
at
so
yourself.
true.
You're
That's
upset
so
with
true.
yourself.
Yeah.
You're in grief, and just seasons where you cannot look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And so
have I.
sometimes you have to look and talk to yourself
Yeah.
and say, hey girl,
Get it together.
get it together. So Pastor Ishmael, how about you?
One of my favorite chapters is I really love the finance chapter in here,
Okay.
but one of my other favorite chapters is called "Help I Need Balance." It's in chapter 10, And it talks about how, doing the routine of life, we can kind of get caught up in doing our day-to-day stuff. You get up every morning and you get the kids dressed, you feed them breakfast, you pack their lunch, and you start all over the same next day. And I teach people in that chapter how to create balance. Number one is set boundaries. Boundaries simply state that I'm only able to go so far before something or someone important to me feels the pain of my choices. Wow. We gotta set boundaries.
That's good.
Step number two, do only what you have to do. By doing this, you are able to instantly prioritize your day. Wow. Okay? Number 3, never promise anything to your family, friends, or associates that you cannot keep. You never promise or you never promise anything to your family or your friends that you cannot keep, because what happens is, by considering your family in this regard, you make sure you never promise anything to them that you would not be able to fulfill.
Wow.
Yeah.
That right there, I'm amazed by that. We're going to take a break. Let that settle in. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. I love it.
People give up?
I think people give up because they don't think they're good enough.
So why do you think people give up on their dreams or any part of life?
I think people have a tendency to give up on their hopes and dreams and aspirations due to, some might say, defeat. But in defeat, there's also a lesson to be learned, and I think a lot of times, if we draw on the lessons of defeat, it actually can give you enough fuel to overcome any and everything. But ultimately, it comes down to just feeling sorry for oneself, having self-doubt, and ultimately losing focus and belief in oneself.
So, oftentimes people give up. What do you think the reason is?
I feel like people give up because they're scared to fail. And, failure is like a big reason to why people don't try as hard, or they don't want to see like the end result. So I think that's why people give up.
Thank you. So why do you think people give up on their dreams?
I think people give up because of time and because of listening to other people. They think.
Welcome back. We out here with the Success Geeks, and it has been lit. Like my son says, Mom, stop saying cool. Don't say awesome. Say lit. And so I'm trying to remember, all the cool stuff, because I want to stay, fly, hip, and making sure that I can connect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kellie, you good.
We try. So,
Yes.
So, Pastor Ishmael, tell us about the significance of March 2nd, 2008.
Oh, it was the start of Another Level Church. Well, then we were Another Level Ministries.
Okay.
But yeah, we started March the 2nd, 2008, right there in Maury Elementary School in Washington, D.C. And our first service, 250 something people joined. 250 people was in attendance, rather.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
First day.
The first service, yeah. So we had about 7 partners that actually joined the ministry with us to help us build the church. Mm-hmm. And we kind of went on an interesting journey, right after that, because anything that you're doing for God is going to have its peaks and valleys.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So we were there for a couple of months, and then we had to leave that building because I think they were doing some kind of renovations or something. And then we found ourselves using someone else's church. Then we found ourselves at a hotel.
Yes.
And we stayed at the hotel. But within 6 months of being after that, we literally found our own location. And we moved into that building with 18 people.
Yes.
And to God be the glory.
Yes.
The church is debt free. Praise God.
Yes.
And we are able to make an impact in the community over there in Capitol Heights, Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purpose,
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
And so, what was it like when he says, "Come on, we're gonna start a ministry"?
That was a journey. I knew that I was marrying someone that was in ministry. He had said to me that the Lord said that he would be pastoring by the age 30. Was it 29?
28.
28.
Yeah.
Yep, 28. And so I knew what I was in store for, but I didn't know how God was going to do it. I didn't know that in 2008 we were going to start the ministry in March. I didn't know that I was going to be led to start a master's degree program in the latter part of 2007. And I didn't know that I was going to get pregnant with his first child also in 2008. So literally the first year we launched the ministry. The ministry started in March. I got my master's degree in May of 2008. And I had his first son in November of 2008. So it was fast. There was much acceleration. And honestly, could have killed us. But it was the grace of God, because I made decisions professionally that I thought was going to be in the best interest of our marriage, and it was not. I made him a stepdad instantly, and we had this ministry that started. And so I had to really tie up my shoe straps and say, listen, I got to get it together and make this right, because the call of God that was on his life. And so I learned early in our marriage that I got to make this a priority, or this is not going to work. And so I just started from day one making the ministry a priority. And so as we talked about the things that we were going to be doing together as a couple and individually, we mapped everything out, even in the ministry. Yeah. My husband said to me, he said, babe, give me 5 years to build the ministry. Here's where we are financially. Here's where we want to be. Here's where we need to go for this short period of time. Allow me to invest everything, our resources, your resources, my resources, our human capital, and I promise you everything you want, after 5 years, you'll have it. I made that commitment to God first and to him, and he honored everything. Mm-hmm. And at that 5-year mark, that's when we opened up the boutique. That's when you saw things like the book. And so I believe my ability to submit and to sow a seed of submission yielded a great return for me.
Come on, somebody.
So.
Boss lady. If we had a shoe cam, we about these shoes, okay? I looked down to grab something and the shoe said boss lady.
Yes.
And so that is, I mean, and you walk it out. I remember being at your church for, I don't know if it was a church anniversary, and
maybe women's weekend.
Maybe a women's weekend, and you took all the married women to the side.
Yep, I did that session.
And I did not know that I would go home and apologize to my husband for just being a boss chick. You know, getting into that mindset, which I know that it's self-righteousness.
Wow.
And it's prideful. And you see the hashtags going, you know, the boss lady this and the boss lady that. But what you fail to realize is that, like you said, when you go home, you Kellie. There's no Coach Kellie.
Yes.
Leave her right there.
I want to see Coach Kellie in the kitchen or the bedroom.
You know? And so it really blessed me, and it was it was a turning point for me in that area of submission. And I went to support a friend and didn't know it was a dynamic setup from God.
Wow.
And so I always talk about you whenever I minister to wives or whenever I'm in a salon.
It's a blessing.
You know, not that I took it from you, because I mention you as well and make those connections, because I was able to see it. Because it was something that I did struggle with. Like, well, how do you manage it? And, you know, when you know what to do and you can go bop, but then you wait on him to figure it out in his time.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I really honor you for, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Just appreciating your husband for, you know, his wisdom in your life. And like you said, I did not know that. I didn't know what you just said about him saying, give me 5 years.
Yeah.
And then God just laid everything out for you.
Yeah.
And I think that is a lot of women that just really need to hear that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
thank God for that.
So tell us about your up and coming events.
Oh, I'm ecstatic and excited and filled with enthusiasm about the Beautiful Boss Ladies Brunch.
Yeah.
So Kellie, this is our second annual Beautiful Boss Ladies Brunch, and I know we tote that word around, and I'm so not the, you know, want to be just kind of like all about me, but I do believe that you are a boss when you're able to take charge of your own success. and you can translate that and impact the lives of others. And so the Beautiful Boss Ladies Brunch was really just, it came from my desire to help take women to the next level. I come from humble beginnings. My mother didn't have much to give me. She struggled with addiction, and I didn't know how I was going to make ends meet. And I just said to God, if you get me to a place where I'm financially stable, I'll give you all the praise. I'll sow, I'll pay it forward. And yes, it's okay to want more. And it wasn't until I got to the place, Kelly, where I said to God, I want to make 6 figures. And I'm thinking, little old me, am I going to make 6 figures? And when God opened up that door with one stream, I was like, I want to spread the love. So the book was the first vehicle that I used to spread the love. And the brunch was really just gathering this kind of almost meeting of the minds of women that have already gotten to that place where they're making 6 figures and they want to spread the love to other women. So we're meeting on December 3rd. In Washington, D.C., at the Hilton Garden, downtown D.C. We're going to be meeting from 1 to 4. I have some phenomenal women who are already accomplished, and they're going to be sharing sound strategies to help women get to the 6-figure income, or those that are already at the 6-figure income, sustain that or increase it.
Awesome.
And you can go to successgeeks.com and register for the Beautiful Boss Ladies Brunch.
Well, I hate to say we are out of time today, but we would definitely have you guys back.
We would love to be back.
I'm just like, y'all don't even understand. Like, we should really be, we should, they should have to subscribe to the show. I'm serious. It was so good today. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so in closing, I just want to say, go out and support successgeeks.com. Go to Another Level Ministries. You will be absolutely blessed in Jesus' name. I love you guys. If you have any questions or concerns for them, you can go to CoachKellieSpeaks@gmail.com. And also, you can catch the replay if you missed any of it on our YouTube channel at Coach Kellie Speaks. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Yay, that was so good.